These videos, filmed in 2021, give good general guidelines that you can use to optimize your performance to the way game is played at the moment. But it should be noted that IPSC and dynamic shooting disciplines are always evolving. What we consider a good technique today might change tomorrow if we find a better one. Also, nothing is ever black and white, and everything in our sport comes down to execution. There are several different roads to the top level. I always recommend having an open mind to study, learn, and choose a shooting style and equipment that you can master and use your strengths as an individual. Hello friends, I am IPSC Shotgun World Champion Jaakko Viitala. And in this video I will talk about shotgun length, barrel length, and the weight of the shotgun and how those things affect dynamic shooting. Please note that this video focuses on traditional tube magazine shotguns, but many topics can also be applied with box-fed open shotguns. You don't have to watch to the end of the video. I can tell you right away that you can be the world champion with a long barrel or a short barrel if you master your equipment and its features. But there is a world of difference between shooting a short or a long shotgun and between heavy or light. So why should you choose between one or another? And what are the situations that favor the different features? We will spend the rest of the video diving deeper into that. Let's first go through the good characteristics of a long-barreled shotgun. The shortest clay sport shotgun is today typically with 28-inch barrels like here. The total length of this kind of shotgun is comparable to a 24-inch semi or pump action shotgun because of the longer receiver rather than break action with over-under. This kind of 28-inch barrel over and under is considered quite short, suitable for example skeet shooting, which is a fast clay sport, and of course hunting, where also a little shorter shotguns than this are used. For other clay sports, for example sporting and trap, the usual barrel lengths can be longer, up to 32 and 34 inches. The total length of this kind of sport shotgun would be similar to a semi or pump action shotgun with a 28 or even 30 inches barrel. The reasons for a dynamic shooter to value a long-barreled shotgun would be the same than a clay sport shooter. Clay sports have been around more than 100 years, so a lot can be learned from those. I'm not saying that everything can be adapted directly, as our sports are different, but clay shooters have used a century to make their guns shooting optimally from a stationary position. A long barrel will point better and point with more accuracy. And what I mean by this, that with a shotgun you should usually be looking mostly at the targets. And the shotgun will automatically and naturally point where you are looking when you mount it. This can be easier with a long barrel. A long shotgun will have more momentum in the barrel and it will smooth out the swing of the shotgun. This means you come to the target with smoother motion and again it is easier to make the hit. In dynamic shooting there will be a lot of target transitions, so you will be doing this all the time. And because of the momentum of the long barrel, the recoil behavior will be smoother. This will make tracking of the barrel easier, helping you recover and transition your vision and the barrel accurately to the next target and make the hit. If the next target is not extremely far away, the split time between shots consists mostly of recovering from the recoil rather than only moving the barrel to the next target. Okay, the long barrel will be nice and very controlled to shoot. So why not get yourself the longest shotgun that you can find? Well, the momentum in the barrel will smooth out the target transition and the recoil behavior. But it will also make the shotgun feeling a little slower. So if you make a long target transition, the barrel will arrive slightly slower to the next target compared to a short barrel. I would argue that this is mostly only feeling in IPSC style shooting, because in between shots you have also the recoil recovery and many times also movement or loading. Of course, there are sometimes very long, up to 180 degrees transitions, where a long shotgun barrel will definitely be slightly slower, arriving to the next target, losing you some fractions of a second. But then again, if you are shooting several shots to a one direction, you might catch up a few fractions with a shotgun that is easier to shoot. In dynamic shooting, you might like that your gun shoots very smoothly. And if you are this kind of shooter, maybe you will value a longer and heavier shotgun. But dynamic shooting is not only about shooting targets from a stationary position. And that might give you a reason to choose something else than the longest and heaviest shotgun that you can find. Swinging a long shotgun around can feel sluggish and slow. The other downside you will most likely notice is that the longer the shotgun is, the easier it will hit all the obstacles in the competition stages. There will be walls, ports, doors and all kind of stuff that you have to maneuver your shotgun around. Depending on the match style and location, the amount of time you can save when using a shorter shotgun will vary. In very constricted stages, you will save more time, and in open space there is no advantage. In IPSC and dynamic shooting disciplines, the points collected by shooting are always divided by the total time that it takes to complete the stage. The total time will include usually more or less gun manipulations. Everything will be faster and easier with a short and light shotgun. Mounting or picking up your gun, reloading or moving it around. If the shotgun is lighter and has less momentum in the barrel end, it will be faster in the movements that are not related to the actual firing of the gun. But when you start shooting a short shotgun, you will notice that the recoil behavior will be more violent and there is more jump and oscillations in the barrel when you shoot. This will make the control of the gun more difficult. Swinging a short barrel between targets will of course be faster, but it will also be less precise. A short barrel with good sights can be easier to shoot slugs. The barrel length itself has nothing to do with slug accuracy, but when firing a relatively slow projectile that will travel a long time through the barrel, the longer the barrel is, the more time for the shooter is to make a mistake and jerk the gun away from the target during firing. A steady hold is the key to accurate slug shooting regardless of barrel length. When we are talking about shotgun barrel lengths between 20 and 30 inch, there will not be a significant difference in muzzle velocity. But there will be a difference in shot patterns. Different manufacturers make different barrels, but generally we can say that the short barrel is able to produce wider shot pattern than a long one. There is an advantage for the short barrel when targets are less than 10 meters away from the shooter. A wide pattern is easier and faster to shoot, providing that the power and the amount of pellets is enough to knock down the targets. Using different chokes, the shot pattern can always be adjusted according to the target difficulty and distance. So a 20-inch shotgun fitted with the correct choke is okay to use in IPSC, where the maximum shooting distances for birdshot are typically 25 to 30 meters. If you choose a longer barrel, you are not able to produce such a wide pattern without special ammo or special diffuser choke. When you fire your shotgun, it will start traveling backwards against your shoulder at the speed that is the velocity times the weight of the projectile divided by the weight of your shotgun. This is the recoil that you have to recover before you can make the next shot. A heavier gun will recoil less and a lighter shotgun will recoil more. This will be true regardless of barrel length. However, the backwards push of a recoil is not the only thing that you have to deal with while shooting. The barrel will jump and oscillate, so the more weight you have at the muzzle end, the smoother the recoil behavior of your barrel will be, as discussed before. But the limit of how much weight the shooter likes to have in the end of the barrel is personal because of the weight balance of a dynamic shotgun. Having a lot of shells in the magazine is already front heavy. And there is a limit where adding weight can start slowing down the overall performance because the handling of the shotgun becomes too cumbersome. When a fully equipped dynamic shotgun weighs around 3 kilos without ammunition, you can consider it being very light. A very heavy dynamic shotgun will be around 4 kilos, fully equipped and without ammunition. Of course, the ammunition will add to the total weight. 9 shells will weigh around 350 grams. If we look again to the clay shooting sports, the competition shotguns there weigh around 3.4 to 3.7 kilos depending on the sport. Hunting shotguns like this one, that are carried through the woods more than shot, can be lighter than that. So, in average, the dynamic shotguns are similar in total weight compared to other competition shotguns. However, the weight balance between these shotguns is usually very different. Ammunition in the magazine will add momentum to the front, slowing down the dynamic shotgun movements. Balance point has a big difference how the shotgun swings and moves in target transitions. So, what is the optimal shotgun length and weight? You will be trading between the shooting characteristics and the handling characteristics of your shotgun. You should not choose too big and heavy gun that the handling will slow you down, but you must also be able to control your shotgun during shooting. The sweet spot for this will be personal and depends on the competitor's size, strength, and shooting style. There is no good reason for going with a shorter barrel than 21 inch because you need to have minimum of 8 shells in the magazine at the starting line. I would consider the minimum competitive magazine capacity being 10. However, today with the telescoping magazines, you can combine a high ammunition capacity with a short overall length. So there is no longer a reason to choose a long barrel if you don't need one, and having a magazine tube extending to the front of the barrel is unnecessary. To have a competitive dynamic shotgun, I would recommend you to make the decision between barrel lengths of 21 to 28 inches. An average size man could shoot any of these guns successfully and do everything that needs to be done in competitions. But you should consider the trades-off and benefits discussed in this video. In the competitions, there will be times when a fast handling shotgun will take the lead, but there will also be times when we are shooting stationary and a long and a heavy shotgun is the optimal choice. But in the end, everything usually averages out, and the winner will be the competitor that is able to master the characteristics of his or her equipment in all situations. If you are an experienced competitor and you know where your strength is and what is your shooting style, you might know very well what type of shotgun you like. However, if you are not sure, I would advise not going to the extremes with the shortest or longest guns without trying them out first. Choosing a 24 or 26 inch dynamic shotgun from the middle is a safe choice and you could do everything quite well. I hope this was helpful. Thank you and see you in the next video.